what is headless e-commerce and what is it the result of? Headless commerce is a buzzword like a lot of other words in the marketing industry. A lot of people don't know what it means. And it used to be if you wanted an e-commerce store, you needed to build it out and run it yourself, right? And that was a lot of cost. You had teams of engineers. But then platforms came along and you had platforms like Shopify Plus and BigCommerce and WooCommerce and Salesforce Cloud and all these different platforms came along and they made it easier and less expensive because they offloaded all the headache to them. So things got easier and cheaper, but they also got more rigid. You lost control as the business. You had to conform to that platform. And so headless is the middle ground between those two extremes. It's the pendulum swinging back towards the direction where you have more control and ownership over everything. It's that hybrid. That's what headless is. It doesn't sound like that, but that's what it is. So headless commerce is the sum of all the various parts of the e-commerce platform experience. It's like if you took Shopify and you broke it apart and you had different apps that do different things, that's headless commerce. So instead of one platform doing everything or you owning everything, you just have multiple platforms coming together doing different pieces of your website and they play together and hopefully to get you to a better result depending on if you need it. And that's what we'll talk about today. So that means instead of everything being on Shopify, you could have your checkout on Bold Checkout, for example, and we'll actually give these examples later. You could have your front end store on a page builder. You could have your back end that handles orders, management, and those kind of things on a separate back end platform. This allows all those platforms to do their job better and gives you more control. However, it does come with some downsides. So why would you need headless commerce? A lot of people come asking about headless and don't know if they need it. So for a leader, I want to make sure a leader, CEO or e-commerce director knows when you need it and when you don't and why you would. So that's kind of the goal of this article right here is we're going to quickly go into some of the overview of headless commerce. So this is in this article, we'll go over the goal of why you might need headless commerce, to give you some idea of what it is so you can make some decisions, and then a quick anatomy of how headless commerce works so that you have information to make some decisions on the direction of your business. Why would you need headless commerce? Headless is more complex than just one platform. It's also more expensive than just one platform because it's multiple platforms working together. If you're the CEO or leader of a company, there are two reasons why you might need headless commerce. First one is flexibility. You'll have more ability to customize all sorts of things from the experience to business processes and those kind of things. When you're on a platform, you have to conform to that platform and your customizations are limited. Headless gives you more flexibility. Second reason, and the more powerful reason from a business standpoint, is more control. It allows you to diversify the technology in your business. And the truth is when you're on one platform, you are at risk because all your eggs are in one basket. We've talked a lot about diversification of your business. We can link to all those things, but we've seen platforms like Amazon and Shopify shutting down brands. We can link to probably articles and stories about that, maybe because they don't agree with the brand or they violate their terms. No matter what your stance is in that area, that is a liability to business when platforms start shutting down businesses that use their platforms. We see that with Facebook all the time. We've also seen platforms go down, right? So platforms are human. They can get hacked and they can go down, those kinds of things. They don't do it often, but it can happen. Breaking apart that experience allows you to spread out your risk and also allows you the ability to create redundancies for different areas of that business. That gives you more stability. It actually takes back the control or more control that you lost when you went to a single platform. And so those are the two reasons, flexibility and control, that you might want to go to headless. So how is it different than traditional? Well, traditionally, you built and managed everything. You had a team of engineers and servers, and that gave you high control. It also came with high cost and high risk. Then there was platform. Platform is where you build everything on a platform. They handle all the design. They handle everything, but you have some design ability. You handle the products and the marketing. Now, platform came with high stability and low cost and lower risk of it going down, and also heightened focus for your team, but it also took control away from you. So headless is the hybrid. You build everything on separate platforms and you have to be the one responsible for integrating them and building them And you need experts for the different platforms. So you need more resources and experts in order to do all this, but it gives you higher control. It lowers your risk as it pertains to being on just having one point of failure. You have multiple points of failure or you have multiple redundancies. And the cost is sort of in between those two extremes. Should your business go headless? If you need more control and flexibility, yes. If you're just fine as is where you are, probably not, at least not yet. But you should plan for it, or plan for what it would look like to diversify your technology, because that's powerful. We'll go through some examples of headless commerce here in a second in our post. But really quickly, I want to talk through the anatomy of a headless commerce solution, or what we call a headless stack. There are three main parts. There's the front end, the back end, and the checkout. The front end is your marketing site. That's your user experience, your pages, everything before that checkout experience, product detail pages, homepage, etc. And there are several ways you can do this. You can do this with an app like Shogun, Builder.io, BigCommerce can do this, WordPress can do this. Maybe Shopify will allow you to start doing this in the future. They don't really right now. Then there's your backend. This handles all of your products, your order management, your discount management, your shipping, your logic, all that kind of stuff. That's your backend. And there are a few options for this to start. This would be Swell. There's a company called Swell that does this. You can use BigCommerce as your backend, and maybe in the future, if Shopify opens up to it, you might be able to use Shopify in the back end as well. And then there's the checkout. The checkout is obviously everything involving purchase flow. That's where all the customer information and credit card information, payment data, and all that kind of stuff is handled. And that needs to be secure and very stable. And so typically you can't even control much of that checkout, but with some of these solutions you can. So there are more and more solutions coming out, but the good thing about it is you can build redundancies with multiple checkouts potentially in the future. That's one really good benefit of having this headless idea. And so the options that are currently out right now are Bold Checkout. That's probably one of the best ones. It's a company called Rally, and there's also several others that are kind of being built as well. So that's kind of the basic anatomy of headless commerce solutions. We'll kind of get into the rest. In conclusion, headless is a buzzword, but one that you should really understand. Do you need it now? That really depends on a lot of factors of business, but it's something you should definitely be planning for in the future, because it's going to lower your risk over time. But it is more expensive, it's more complicated, and you need more experts to do that. But that comes with more control. And if your business is at a certain size, that's probably something that's really worth investing in. So if you would like to explore headless and see if it's right for your business, someone to consult with, reach out to us. We'll help you make that decision.